All right. Hey, you guys. I had someone ask me to redo the second game in my Just Total Chess, where I did two games in one video and I had to switch the board. I, and that kind of confused me and I messed up the game. So I'm going to do the redo of the game because it's by my good friend Phoenix 714, who is a superb chess player. What I neglected to say in that video that is so important is he was given 100% accuracy by the computer. But that doesn't mean he's cheating. You know, there's a huge endemic of accusations of chess cheating now over at chess.com. And it's gotten, I mean, with Kramnik complaining about Hikaru Nakamura cheating, and everybody's accusing everyone else. If there's a good move made and people are offended, they accuse the guy of cheating. And I'm really hoping the electronics doesn't ruin chess. I mean, come on. There are good chess players. Phoenix was given a 100% and he did not cheat. He was computer analyzed. So it's possible, right? If your opponent gets 97, 96, 90% chess, it's not that they're cheating any more than if they get 100%. And my good and dear friend Username, who's also in the BYP Leech's Chess Club, said he has also been given 100% accuracy by the computer. So let's look at this game. I'm going to leave the board this way. Phoenix is playing the black pieces. Hopefully this won't goof me up here. This was an exceptionally, really excellent game. D4, E5. Phoenix is the black pieces. He's our hero on this one. D will take the E5, immediately taking control of the center. And then he gives him a gambit, which is kind of cool. But he doesn't fall for it. He says, no. I'm going to develop. Good idea. Bishop G4. Phoenix puts the... It's not even a pin yet. He just puts his bishop out there, right? And now he takes the D6 pawn. And with that, the bishop will take. It gives black a good impetus to develop with tempo his bishop. So now he's got the bishop pair out there as the black pieces, and white only has one piece developed. He is actually behind in development. He bumps up the E pawn, and now knight C6. And now Phoenix is way ahead in development. And now the bishop E2. Being ahead in development's a temporary thing, right? And so if you're ahead in development, you want to attack. And that's what Phoenix does in this game, which is, and he does it exquisitely well. And I mean, he is roaring out the development and the pieces. His opponent wisely castles. Fundamentally so, you want to try to castle early. Yes. Queen E7. Now, Phoenix puts his queen in front of the king, which is, we're in the opening, and there's really not a threat. There's a lot of pieces between there, but if you can put a rook there and pin the queen to the king, man, that's a sweet move. You always want to be careful of that. Knight B to D2. Bringing out the pieces, and he had the option of developing queenside or kingside. White developed kingside, so Phoenix developing queenside means this is going to be a heck of a battle. The one advantage that's kind of cool about developing queenside is the rook is automatically on that D file across from the queen. So this could get into some tactics if we're not careful. You always want to kind of keep it in the back of your mind. Keep your eye on that D file for the rest of this game. C3 and now H5. Bumping up. Keeping the bishop safe. Queen A4. Queen out. This will be interesting to see what happens. King bops over, and that's typical maneuver. When you castle on the queen side, the king will usually come over within a move or two, simply because you've got 3 pawns there to protect instead of 2, like on the other side. So it's all good and happening, but bishop b5. Now, the attack is on. This is going to get very interesting because he can break up Phoenix pawn structure on his king side, on his castled side, and begin a pretty good attack if Phoenix isn't careful. The other thing that Phoenix does very well is his opponent. Now, technically, he's not attacking on the wing yet, although he is bringing his troops over in order to, guess what? Attack the king. So when your opponent begins to play on the wings, the proper response is always attack back in the center. And this is what we see him do. Knight comes to e5. He brings his knight in the center. Now, this is a partial, technically, it's not occupied by pawns, it's occupied by pieces. So I do believe Phoenix has more power in the center without question, simply because the pieces over here are amassing to go after the king. And so Phoenix is coming through the center, right? So now the knight will take that knight on e5. An exchange of the knights. That was a real good centralized knight. One of the really good strategies to do if your opponent is centralizing a lot of pieces is exchange them so that the power is not so overwhelming. So his opponent's playing a good game of chess. There's no question about it. Phoenix goes kablam. Retakes with the queen. Beautiful center. Fabulous square for the queen. Now, we're out of the opening and into the middle game. So, this isn't one of those issues where Phoenix got his queen out too early at all. In the middle game, we're talking pure radiating power here, right? He also sets up the battery of the queen and the bishop, which is extremely nice. And it's coming down to here. And in one more move, we're talking checkmate. Game over. Ta-da! See you later, Gator. Hasta la vista, baby. I don't quite say it in his tone of voice. Well, he prevents that. G3, his opponent saw it. Heads up to his opponent. Good job, good job. Now, very interestingly, Phoenix bops the h4. So you castle on the queen side. One advantage of the castling on the queen side when your opponent castles on the king side is you now have 3 pawns here that you can just push. Go after him with the pawns to crack open the king side. He's already bumped a g3 pawn. So you can see that those light squares are weak. So throwing the H pawn down there to continue cracking open the king is exquisite strategy. Watch what his opponent does that is so instructive. It's very, very interesting. Knight to c4. He's basically attempting to ignore the attack on his king side and bring enough pieces to make his own attack. That's a correct approach. He's a little bit slow with pulling the trigger to do the attack. C4 is a forcing move, however, in that he is hitting the queen, so Phoenix is going to have to respond unless he thinks he can take the attack without the queen. So, but it kind of helps him to be able to attack the queen. Phoenix simply puts his queen in a much, much stronger kingside place. Notice he's putting the queen closer to the king. Nice. Very nice. Because in order to attack the king, you got to get close enough to him. So this is a tough position. And White. I do not see where knight takes d6. He takes the bishop. He is ignoring the attack, and he's coming into his own attack, which is attempting to get, I mean, this is scary. When you stop and think about it, you go, okay, look, the queen and the bishop, and now the knight is taking out my bishop. And they're getting real close to my king. That's pretty scary. Now, he hasn't bumped any of his pawns. So technically speaking, there's no weaknesses there. But he is continuing on with his attack here. However, Phoenix continues on his attack rather than being distracted by the attack on his king. And it does take nerves of steel. I'm going to confess to you. It takes nerves of steel. It will drive you crazy, yes, but you got to do it, right? You have to. And now it's to the point to where he's the one that begins paying attention to this attack over here. This move, it's difficult because he didn't get all of his pieces out into the game before attacking, but Phoenix was so fast on the draw because he was better developed. And when you're ahead in development, you can go ahead and attack, right? That's the theme. That's the theme. And so Phoenix was. This is one essential of why he won. Had he been able to get his dark square bishop up and in here so that he could make a more forcing attack move than the knight, this isn't a forcing move. He doesn't check the king. It's not necessary to retake that knight either with the pawn or a rook. That's what I mean by his move was not as a forceful of a move as Phoenix taking the g3 pawn. And therefore, the first one to flinch was his opponent, and he does so by bumping this up to h4. And at this point, Phoenix took the h4, and this is where his opponent resigned. Now, Phoenix got 100% accuracy on this, which is worth watching a few times to see what 100% accuracy looks like. He played that game exquisitely well. It was, in other words, if I can reword the 100% accuracy, the meaning of the 100% accuracy in this excellent game, he didn't make any wasted moves at all. He didn't make any blunders at all. And he very seldom did in the games that we played with him in the chess club too. He didn't actually make any mistakes at all. And he didn't have any inaccuracies necessarily at all. And so it's instructive for that reason, because his opponent did not play bad either. Not at all. His opponent did the correct things. He was just a little bit behind in the development. As white, that's interesting. That means he did have a couple of inaccuracies. Perhaps he moved too many pawn moves and got behind in the development behind Phoenix, and Phoenix was 1 or 2 steps ahead of the shoe shine. But he did bring his attack in, and he did continue attacking instead of going back and forth and playing reaction chess. He genuinely made a good attempt at an attack. He just didn't get there fast enough. So that's one of the values of this game. So there's the redo for you. Thank you for asking me to redo it. It's my pleasure. I didn't mean to goof up the first one. But here is this very instructive, very nice game for you to pursue at your leisure now. So, and I will be back with more chess videos as I have time. I wasn't able to do a Saturday live today. I apologize for that, but been a busy, busy day. It's all good. Perhaps I can catch up and do a Saturday, or not a Saturday, an evening next week on Chess Live or whatever. Or I'll just see you next Saturday on a live, and I'll do a live where I can do maybe 4 or 5 electronic chess games and really give you a whopping amount of instruction. That's fun to do too. I know you guys like this big board. I like doing it on the big board. Perhaps in my live, I can do a game on the big board, and then I can do a couple of the electronic ones. There's value to both of them, right? So we're here to learn chess, to improve ourselves. Yes, it takes time. For me, it's taken way too long, years and years and years and years, and I'm working on correcting that now. Woo-hoo! So thank you. Appreciate all you do for me. Appreciate all your support and how much fun it is to associate with good people like you, my audience. And I will catch up to you just as soon as I can. Remember, be good, do well, have fun, make lots of friends, smile. It's fun to smile. It's even more fun to make people smile. I'm just saying, try it. It's really cool. Hey, catch up to you soon.